Good afternoon and good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel. And once again, for 2 days or for two streams consecutively, we have a coffee stream.
Yay!
And with us is Skep Talk because it's Wednesday.
It's
And it's,
Wednesday, and it's only been like half a year
I
since
know, right?
since our last Wednesdays with Skep. But we're back, and we're going to do this now. It's going to be a regular thing. How have you been?
I've been good. It's been a long haul.
I mean, you haven't had anyone to ask you about how you've been on your stream, and so I thought I'd take a moment to kind of interview you and see what's new, what's changed. It's the last time I've been on the stream. Stuff you might want to go over for the fans who are tuned in this morning.
Well, we've been doing with a bunch of different things, and the kids are back to school, thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
They really needed it. I'm not gonna lie, I needed it too.
Yeah,
um, and of course,
you can love your children and need a break.
yes, exactly. And of course, Pink Hollow has been working really hard on our merch store, and he's been doing, I think, a really good job.
Pink Hal has been a real hero in my opinion in all this. He's
Oh God,
been the quiet hero behind the scenes
for
in all this.
everything, like
You know,
for everything over the past
you've been out in
forever.
front, kind of doing your star turn, and he's been back there toiling, and it's
Yeah,
not unnoticed by me. Well done, Pincalo. I mean, well done, buddy.
yeah. He and like it's it's awesome. Like
Yeah.
he's fixed the thumbnail for me for today's stream too.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. By the way, everybody, Blind Press has merch, and I know she's probably flogged it yesterday, but we're going to flog it again right now. She has a Streamlabs merch site, and it's basically Blind Press in Streamlabs Blind Press merch /merch,
Yep.
and you can go there and just look at the cool stuff that she has. One of the cool things that she has is uh, it's kind of a plush pillow, right?
Yeah.
And with her eyes on it. This is truly a one of a kind item. This is not an item you're going to find in any store. Where can you find a plush pillow with a blind person's eyes on it?
And it is
I mean,
Halloween month,
yes, Halloween
like
month. I mean, I've never seen anything that suggests itself so awesomely. If I wasn't taking my discretionary income and working my way through the shirts first, which I started last night by ordering the
thank you.
T-shirt, I that would be the first thing that I ordered. But I knew that if I ordered that, Brenda, my wife, my better half, would say, why didn't you get a shirt? Why didn't you get me a shirt? Which I've been married for a long time. I know how this works. So, I went with the shirt. But eventually, yes, I'm going to own that pillow. And how many pillows are there?
There's 100 of them.
There's 100. So there's only 100.
Eyeballs on the top right of the screen.
Yeah, yeah, and
Oh.
and
If you want to see
up
what the pillow looks
up.
like, it's the
Uh,
eyeballs on the top right of the screen.
Yeah.
yeah, the eyeball at the top right of the screen. If you're looking in the watch page, is it on the watch page? I don't even have the watch page up, idiot. Uh,
Um,
don't mind me. I'm well prepared for the stream.
I
Anyway,
don't know.
here I'll tell you right quick. I'll tell you very rapidly. Yes, it is. It's actually at the top right of the stream. You see the two eyeballs. That is basically the picture that you get on the pillow, and folks, go and order that. You will have something that will is absolutely the most. I've lived a long time. I've lived 68 years. I'm in my 69th year of life, and I've never seen anything like this in my life. So, if you want something absolutely unique, you must order this. I hope you do. And while you're there, get a shirt too, because the shirts are absolutely awesome. The black is my favorite, although the blue is very fetching too, but the black is my favorite. It's just badass with the coffee on it, with the steam coming out. It's amazing. you'll want to own those too. So enough shillage, but I did want to get that out there. You really should help support this great creator. And I really do mean that. It's worthwhile. So anyway, getting back to stream topics, I haven't decided whose country is crazier, yours or mine.
Oh God! And I have a video for us to watch too.
Do you really?
I do. So, we have I can talk.
Toy boat.
We have PMQs here, as well, like they do in Britain.
Right.
Now, for those of you who are going, what the fuck's a PMQ? Prime Minister questions.
Right.
Prime Minister question period.
Oh.
And the hero of the Conservative Party, Pierre Poilievre, the member from Carleton, member of Parliament from Carleton, and I think that's Carleton, Ottawa. But anyway, he's a member of the Conservative Party. This man is amazing. We have a video of him, and I've just gone to the wrong DM. That's not helpful. We have a video of him holding Trudeau's feet to the fire over his per capita debt per Canadian for the COVID relief. And oh man, is it good. I recognized this video. Pinkala showed it to me. I watched it. But I have, where is it here? This video is just amazing. And if I can pull it up here so I can share the screen, that would be great.
That's okay. And so this guy is a conservative from Ottawa, you say?
Yes, I believe so. Here is the link.
All right.
It's titled, "Did your family get $40,000 in COVID relief?" And this is asking the Canadian, the regular Canadian, did your family get $40,000 in COVID relief? This is on Pierre Poilievre's YouTube channel.
All right, and are you going to run the video now?
I am, and I'm going to share audio.
Okay.
So I was just getting it pulled up.
Okay.
So I'm going to jump back over to StreamYard and share the Chrome tab that I've got open and share the audio. So I won't have to unplug my headphones at all.
Gotcha.
Or anything like that. Because I know how to do that now. I'm semi-professional now.
Hey, totally badass here on the Blind Press Radio Hour.
Okay, here we go. Oh shit, I forgot to share my audio. God damn it. Okay, I have to reshare the screen.
All right, take your time.
Me just saying how professional I am, and I fuck it up.
No. We got plenty of time. That was just a practice share.
Okay, let's reshare this here. Chrome tab.
Have you got your audio shared?
Yeah. Gotta check that little box.
There you go.
There we go. Okay. Can you guys see the YouTube page?
I can see it. I can see the YouTube page.
So here we go. Let's hit play.
Mr. Speaker, it is great to see you back in person. It has been far too long and so much has changed. For one, you are the proud owner of another $10,000 of debt. Yet that is the per capita share of every man, woman, and child in Canada. $380 billion deficit this year.
That's how much we've spent on COVID this year.
I love that. Every man, woman, and child, $10,000. Well done, Canada.
Yep.
For 38 million Canadians equals $10,000 per Canadian, or $40,000 for a family of 4. Now, I don't know about you, Mr. Speaker, but I haven't met a lot of people who will tell me that their family has received $40,000 in COVID relief benefits.
I sure as fuck didn't.
Where's my 40,000?
No shit. I would have loved 40,000. Pincalo could have used $40,000. That he could have gotten a new truck. Then he could have gotten really good deliveries. Oh, holy shit.
In fact, even if you received the CERB for a full 16 weeks, that works out to $8,000. And the majority of Canadians did not even receive that CERB, although their mortgage is $40,000 bigger. They do not have $40,000 worth of benefits to show for it. So,
and for those of you who are going, what's a CERB? Canadian Emergency Response Benefit is what that stands for. That was put in place just after the lockdown happened. So that's what he's talking about.
So often that is the case with trickle-down government. The hardworking taxpayer has to climb the bureaucratic mountain with a big bucket of water on his back, and that water is then poured into the federal bureaucracy. It is sloshed around down to provincial bureaucracies and municipal bureaucracies, and then given on to other delivery bodies. And just as he gets back to the bottom of that bureaucratic mountain, there's a few drops that trickle down back into that bucket that he so laboriously took to the top of the hill in the first place.
Best analogy ever.
Great analogy. Truly great analogy.
I love this man. This man is awesome.
I love his attitude. He's so merrily, cuttingly sarcastic.
Oh, God. Pierre is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and it gets better.
Now, the government will tell that taxpayer and all Canadians that we are in a crisis, thus justifying a deficit of this magnitude. And it is true. We do have a crisis. Now, we will put aside for a moment the fact that the government made the crisis worse by allowing tens of thousands of people from the most infected regions of the world to come into the country after military intelligence warned them of the danger. We will ignore the fact that many of the programs they designed since that time punished businesses for reopening and punished workers for working. We will ignore all of those failings and grant that indeed this is a crisis. But it's not our first crisis.
Oh, this is where he gets amazing. So he's going to break down 3 different times in history for us economically and compare them to right now. This is going to be awesome.
Oh boy.
Indeed, we fought world wars, we've had the Great Depression, the Great Recession. So how does this deficit compare to those deficits? It wouldn't be fair just to point out that our $380 billion deficit is 7 times the previous all-time record, because that doesn't adjust for GDP and inflation. So to be fair, let's compare the deficit as a share of GDP in inflation-adjusted terms.
Now, before we go any further, this guy is the auditor, right, for making sure that everybody is like all the governments and stuff, is members of parliament and shit, are spending their money. He's the one in charge of the committee investigating Justin Trudeau and this We charity. So he knows numbers, is my point. This man lives and breathes numbers. So you can trust and believe what he's about to break down for us.
He looks like an accountant.
Yeah, he knows his numbers. So here we go.
This year, the federal deficit is 17% of GDP. To compare, in the worst year of World War I, it was 8% of GDP. In the worst year of the Great Depression, it was 6% of GDP. In the worst year of the Great Global Recession, it was 4% of GDP. To put it in perspective, our deficit today is twice what it was in World War I, 3 times what it was in the Great Depression, and 4 times what it was in the Great Global Recession, all adjusted for the economy and inflation.
That is insane. That is 17% of our GDP is debt right now. And now he's going to talk about the one time that it was higher. So here we go. And this is awesome. I love this.
Only once in our history has the deficit been bigger as a share of our economy, and that was in 1943. 1943, when the government was selling bonds to its people so that it could fight Hitler and Mussolini and Imperial Japan. They put those dollars to work to win the war, and yes, they had a deficit of 23% of GDP in that year. But you know what was different? When our soldiers came back from battle, you might have expected that, exhausted and heartbroken from loss, that they would want to take a prolonged vacation and put it on the national credit card and let future generations pay the bill. But they did exactly the opposite. You know how long it took our grandparents to balance the budget after they got back from the war? 1 year. 1 year. And within 2 years, they were running the largest budget surplus in Canadian history, 5% of GDP, the equivalent of $120 billion in today's relative terms. They fought for our freedom, and then they fought for our finances. Imagine if we had a government today with even a modicum of the integrity and respect and honor that our grandparents had those many years ago.
That is a man that I am glad is in the Conservative Party. That I've seen that video before, and but I just get super goosebumps of when I watch this. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do the whole 10 minutes of this video, but we'll watch a little bit more of it. But
why is this man not running your government?
we want him where he is. We have Aaron O'Toole, who is running for prime ministership. He's the leader of the Conservative Party right now. And he is very intelligently, I think, going after Trudeau, the policymaker, and the Liberal Party as policy setters and what they've allowed, instead of getting down in the mud with him. And I think that was Andrew Scheer's problem. Mm-hmm. And I think if Polyev
sullies himself,
if he were to be in that position,
yeah,
he is angry enough at Trudeau. If you listen to that, like especially that last part about the war, and they fought for our freedom, and then they fought for our finances, he's pissed. Like he is, and he has every right to be pissed. But he is the wrong guy to be in the leadership position, because he'll get into the mudslinging. He'll get into...
He's too much of a technical specialist.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone's like, damn, in chat. He's our Trey Gowdy. Yeah, that's what Pincalo just said.
I think he's pretty awesome.
I do too. I like this man. I'm not sure how much more. That was pretty much what I wanted to see here. Let me play a few more minutes of it, or a few more seconds of it, and see what he has to say. But I might not do the whole 10 minutes. Hold on, let's see here.
Wouldn't we be in much better shape? But here we are today, with a prime minister that not only effortlessly and carelessly spends our money, he tells us that money is not even a real thing anymore. Yesterday, in his bizarre address to the nation, he told us that spending more actually costs less.
He did. He did do that. I I watched it. He did. It was funnier than the budget will balance itself thing that he did in his election campaign.
I'm not joking. You can look it up. That's what he actually said. Spending more money costs less. You know, it's clearly things now mean the opposite of what they say. This is not 1947. This is 1984. And we have a government engaged in doublespeak about the meaning of money. Now, they tell us that we can afford all of this debt because interest rates are low. And they're right, interest rates are incredibly low, stoked by the fact that central banks are producing an unprecedented amount of fake money through keystrokes at their bureaus. But those rates are not going to be low forever. Unless you believe that the debt will be paid off before the rates rise, then you have to believe that we've got trouble down the road. This government is not planning to pay back the debt ever. In fact, its own projections suggest that the debt will grow every year forever.
Jesus Christ. The debt will grow every year forever. That is... Wow.
Pause.
It is paused.
That comment that he just made about this isn't 1947, this is 1984.
Yeah.
Who else was prime minister in 1984?
Brian Mulroney. And I just compared I have compared Trudeau to Brian Mulroney before.
This is the Paul Krugman error.
Yeah.
And the problem with Trudeau is he has a second-rate brain. He really is. He's not intelligent enough to make the judgments he needs to make as a manager to manage the country.
Yeah.
And he's listening to things he wants to hear. And unscrupulous people from that school of economics, the Paul Krugman school, that say, you know, I've heard this too, you know, and I read some, you know, I've had graduate level economics courses. I've got a master's in business. So you study economics pretty intensely. I know.
I just caught that. Did you say Brian Mulroney was 1984?
Yeah.
Trudeau's dad.
No.
What year was Trudeau?
Trudeau ratified
Mulroney was the 90s. But what year?
No, he... Oh my God. Mulroney had 2 terms.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know it was for sure.
Anyway.
Trudeau was in office from 1980 to June 30th, 1984.
Yeah, he lost the election in 84.
And he lost the election in 84.
To Brian Mulroney.
And then he was succeeded by Joe Clark, actually.
Oh, yeah, Joe Clark for like 8 months.
Yeah, and then Joe...
I always forget about Joe Clark because he had such a short freaking...
I remember Joe Clark. He was kind of a young-looking guy, you know,
and an idiot.
Yeah, and he was, he was considered to be an idiot.
We have so you know, I don't know.
And he was succeeded by Trudeau again. Trudeau got reelected after that.
Oh shit! I forgot about that.
Yeah, and
sorry, honey.
So anyway, blah 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 blah.
But yeah, there.
Sorry, what did you apologize for?
For being wrong about Trudeau. It was Trudeau, Joe Clark, then Trudeau, then Mulroney.
It was what?
Yeah, then Mulroney.
I was what now?
You were correct.
I was what? I was what?
Don't be an asshole.
Oh, no. What? Say again.
I said you were correct.
Thank
now
you.
stop it. But yeah, there's this joke up here in Canada. I don't know if you do this in Texas because you guys probably don't get very much snow. But our kids, we have their mittens on strings, and we put the string through the coat.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy drew a cartoon of Joe Clark, saying that he would, if he didn't have his mittens on strings, he would forget them. He's that stupid, right? So now they're called Joe Clark strings.
Oh, jeez, that's God. What a legacy. Yeah. Well, anyway, getting back to what I was saying about economics.
Yeah.
So here's basically what they're saying is that money doesn't matter, interest doesn't matter, debt doesn't matter, because it's just a statement on paper. Okay. So you can do whatever you want, you can borrow whatever you want, as long as you have power in the world. You can just say, give me, I'm going to take it. And as long as you control the materials, as long as your credit is good, you're fine. You know, and as long as your promise still counts, as long as people will honor your currency, you're fine. The problem is that that's like running along a mountain pass with a blindfold on. You're absolutely fine until you come to the edge of the cliff, right?
Yeah.
And even then you're fine until you hit. And you, the problem is that when your debt gets too high, interest rates will rise precipitously. They will go up very high, because what will happen is your cost of capital, the cost of the next dollar that you borrow, will become very, very expensive to you. And that when that happens, the load on the debt that you have to pay, because you have to continually refinance that debt to hold on to it, because you can't you don't have the money to repay it. So one of two things has to happen. You can print money to pay that debt, and everybody will watch your money supply, and they will float your currency, and your currency will start to decline against the other world currencies.
Yeah.
And it will become worth less goods, and that's that fundamental thing that will start to erode. What Krugman and those guys say is that actually will never really happen, and they're wrong. They're just flat ass wrong. It's happened every single time this has been tried. Every time, when the French did it, when the Germans did it, when the Serbians did it, when the Italians did it. Every time, and the Greeks did it, every time this has happened, every time you try and print money to get out of this, you screw your currency, and your currency becomes worthless. When the Venezuelans did it, the Venezuelan currency is worth nothing right now. It's worth nothing. It is worth. They're people are papering their walls with the notes of Venezuelan currency. You cannot buy a loaf of bread with a billion of whatever those pesetas or whatever that stupid
Bolivars?
currency. Yeah, no. Bolivars. You cannot buy anything with that currency right now. And
that is sad.
Well, the thing is, Trudeau is risking this not for probably a generation, but eventually that's going to happen, because people are keeping track of this, and he's run up it's hard to believe he's actually done worse in his country than we are. You guys are in worse shape than we are, because you don't have the ability to produce as big a GDP as fast as we do.
No.
We can actually produce our way. We barely can, but I think we can still produce our way out of our problem right now. Yeah. I don't know how Canada is going to produce its way out of its currency problem. Other than devaluing the Canadian dollar, that's the only way, which is basically walking away from some of its debt, which will make Canadian bonds, it'll half their value. I mean, it will be a fucking disaster, and it will be a disaster for American markets. And there will be amazing pressure in the United States to shore up Canada, to go rescue Canada. That's gonna fuck up a lot of things. It's just nothing but bad news. Anyway, in other good news, Trump is going to lose the election. Trump is going to lose. He's too far behind. He can't make up the ground, and I don't think he wants to win.
You don't
think
so?
He wants to go out with a show of bravado. He's content with his 4 years. He's sort of bored with being president. He's tired of the stress, the strain, the being hated, the everything else. He wants to go back to his good life, his happening life, and he not making any effort to win the election. He's getting in his own way, and I think he is at least ambivalent about being president. And as a result, he is actually going to lose to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and he's going to lose large. It's going to be a fairly decent sized victory, and it's not going to be questionable. It's not going to be subject to question at all. It's he's 15 points down.
Oh, wow.
That's too far to make up. In fact, I just called up. I was just going to look at the.
Yeah, but how many points was he down with Hillary before
Three.
Three. Was it 3?
3. Mm-hmm. He was down 3 points, and they considered that to be just no way he's coming back from 3 points down, and that that's considered a fatal being down. He is down. Let's see. Down 12, down 14, down 10, down 13, down 9, down 10. These are all likely voters, registered voters, likely voters, registered voters, registered voters, likely voters. These are all quality polls. I mean, I know I get yelled at for polls. Polls are wrong, blah, blah, blah. But these are 10 and 10 plus points difference. They're not that wrong. They aren't that wrong. I don't see how he can. I mean, Biden would have to do something to basically hand him the election.
Yeah.
And that's just not going to happen. So that's just in Texas, it's even among likely voters across the state.
Wow.
And if Texas goes for Biden, it's done. Texas has a lot of electoral votes. If Texas goes for Biden, it's over because you'll have Texas, California, and New York. That's all she wrote. That's stick a fork in it. The roast is done.
Welcome 948B Scott to the channel. Thank you for subscribing.
Yay. Another subscriber. Welcome. So anyway, get ready for a Biden administration. That should be interesting.
So are you guys ready to watch a debate with plexiglass?
Pence and Kamala, and the kind of plexiglass that is in place in those kind of cheap, tawdry gas stations in the bad part of town that they take your money and the guy's got a shotgun behind. Oh my God. This is going to be great. It's I think Kamala Harris should be behind plexiglass at all times just to protect the public.
Yeah.
But
probably.
Yeah, Kamala under glass. That should be fun.
Then she can break glass ceilings.
Oh man, with a single bound. But I was looking through. I saw an interesting story that Adam Schiff, who spent years lying to the American people about his, quote, evidence, end quote, that President Trump was in cahoots with the Kremlin, is flogging another wild conspiracy theory. Do you want to hear about it?
Oh, please.
On Tuesday, Trump finally put an end to Nancy Pelosi's games by calling off any talks with another coronavirus relief package until after the election. He effectively ended Pelosi's hostage taking, right?
Yeah.
And he took to Twitter to blast what he called Crazy Nancy and her ongoing refusal to cut a deal that would provide economic relief to Americans unless it contained massive bailouts, for the blue states that have, they've hosed themselves, they've mismanaged themselves into practical insolvency by their Democratic governors.
Right.
In fact, here was his tweet from Donald J. Trump. Crazy Nancy Pelosi and the radical left Democrats were playing games with the desperately needed worker stimulus payments. They just wanted to take care of Democrat-failed high-crime cities and states. They were never in it to help the workers. They never will be. Trump wanting to win the election. Nice going, Trump. Anyway, Schiff quickly ran to his favorite cable news network, CNN, where he donned his tinfoil hat and implied without proof that Trump's decision to call off the stimulus talks was due to him being impaired by the drugs that he has been taking for COVID treatment. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. The Congressman Schiff, okay, and he's the Hollywood congressman. He's from California, said that Trump's illness posed a, quote, grave security problem. But given his history of hyperbole on the Russia scam, nothing that comes out of this guy's mouth, should surprise you. All right. On Tuesday afternoon's broadcast of CNN's Situation Room, House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff, D. California, stated that President Donald Trump's decision to call off coronavirus relief talks does call into question his judgment, certainly, but whether he's being impaired by these drugs, end quote, that the president is taking for coronavirus. Host Wolf Blitzer, a stunned host Wolf Blitzer, asked Schiff about reports that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi suggested that the steroid Trump is taking might be impacting the president's thinking and what he thinks about this prospect. The steroid, right. Schiff said, in his medical judgment, well, in my view, Wolf, on the best days, the president's thinking isn't too sound. So if there's any impairment, it's a real problem. To me, this harkens back to the president proudly boasting that he's going to take responsibility for shutting down the government. Well, he's now proudly taking responsibility for denying the American people help in their time of crisis. Basically, today, Donald Trump told the country, if you're a small business person and you're going under, too bad for you. I'm not going to bother with it until after the election. If you've lost your job and you're on unemployment compensation, your benefits have run out, that's too bad. That doesn't affect me. I don't care. I'll deal with that later. This is so irresponsible when millions are suffering. And of course, politically, it makes no sense for him to do it either. Yeah, like maybe it's insane, Adam. Like maybe he's not doing that. Maybe it's because you put the gun to his head and we're demanding billions and billions of dollars for California and New York to bail out those shithead governors. Maybe that's why he put the kibosh on the payments. Maybe that's what it was, but you're not saying that, are you? But anyway, with the election only 4 weeks away, Democrats and their winged monkeys in the media are going to throw everything at President Trump in the hope that something sticks. But the lies and conspiracy theories are having a diminishing return, we hope. Schiff's suggestion is despicable, but that's just the way that shit rolls. It just makes me sick people are accepting that without uncritically. They just look at that and say, okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Schiff's right. He's a congressman. Schiff is absolutely one of the most irresponsible people on earth. I mean, Trump isn't acting responsibly either, in my opinion, but he's irresponsible in a different way. He should have gone to the American people and said, look, these guys are trying to hold me up and demanding billions of dollars for these states that fritter away all their money, and I'm not going to give it to them. I'm not going to waste your money on them again because they're just going to fritter it away again. And so hold their feet to the fire, and when they cut this crap out, then I will okay this bill, and you'll get your relief checks.
Yeah.
And Schiff is just playing this brinkmanship game with the American people, and so is Nancy Pelosi, by the way. So they won't put through a bill without this garbage in it, without these garbage payments to people like Gavin Newsom, governor of California, and Cuomo, governor of New York, who have hosed their states by wasting the money that they did have. It's so frustrating. But what's going to come out of this is Trump is going to lose. Biden is going to get in there, and he is going to be told what to do.
Yeah.
By a cabal of people who don't really have the country's best interest at heart.
Thank you, Gunfox, for the $3 donation via Streamlabs.
Thank you, Gunny.
For some reason, it's not showing me the freaking message that you sent with it, but it's showing that you've sent a donation. So,
So thank you.
Thank you for that.
Good on you, man. Yeah. Anyway, Gunfox says Dems have billions in state bailouts and laws to defund police by 50%. Yeah, and he's absolutely right.
Yep.
It's defund the police. What a bunch of imbeciles.
Did you see the dumb bitch that was like, we need to defund Walter Reed Hospital because they sent Trump home?
Oh yeah, defund Walter Reed. That's a fabulous idea. That's wrong. Somebody, Cynical Lindsay just says a very interesting thing. Say goodbye to no additional foreign wars under a Biden-Harris administration. Boy, do you have the handle on that. That is a neo-lib administration, and they are going to want to swing the military club out there. That's going to be wonderful,
Yep.
And and Gunfox adds, plus the Dems want to bail out the Democrat cities that are thrashed by the looters.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely true. They're basically going to be supporting Black Lives Matter and Antifa and encouraging that kind of stuff. It's going to lead to more chaos, more fear, more deaths. But I guess, as long as it's white middle-class people dying, it doesn't really count. Because that's our white privilege.
If white people are dying.
Exactly.
There will be no peace deals in this administration, says Lindsay. Yep.
It's like the American public is a very slow, stupid child. And you have to be patient with it while it just burns its hand and stares into the sun and does all the stupid things that kids do.
Walks into the wall, the same wall.
Exactly. Sticks the paper clip into the socket, and just does all the things. And eventually realizes, hey, those people aren't in our best interest. You're starting to see the rise of a black middle class, and this is really upsetting the race hustlers. Yep. They're seeing more and more black people walk away from the plantation, and they want to replenish the plantation by letting more and more illegal aliens, more aliens in, more illegitimate people come in, welcome more people in who will reflexively vote for handouts, and they want a government that supports people rather than people who support a government.
Yeah,
and that's really the difference between conservatives and progressives, quote unquote progressives, in America right now. Is there are some people who want a government that supports people, and some people who want people to support a government.
Well, and it's really like, because there are more and more black people that are saying, you don't speak for me. How dare you say that I'm downtrodden? How dare you say that I'm, weak and less than and
needy,
oppressed and needing a hand up,
right.
Like, how dare you say that about me and my people? And they're absolutely, if I was told that every day of my life, like, I would be upset too. And
there are too many black people who happen to be black who are also strong, capable, ambitious. They want to get out there, make their mark in the world, do something, advance themselves, have their kids have it better than what they had. And, America and Canada offer that opportunity.
Yep.
And interestingly enough, what the Democrats want is they want to take that away. They want less potential for social mobility. They want a more turgid society where you are essentially labeled going through school, and the government decides what you're going to do. And you were given an assignment by the government, and that's what you do. Essentially, Democrats don't realize it. But North Korea is nirvana for them.
Yeah.
If you look at North Korea, everything that North Korea does, with everything regimented and singing songs of praise for the state,
Yep.
getting up and doing healthful things and only singing healthful, eating healthful toads and dragonflies, because
Living
that's
in
all
the
there is to
pod.
eat. Yeah, exactly. Uh, uh, you're not, kids are not allowed to sleep over at other kids' houses in North Korea. Did you know that?
Mm.
You're not, you cannot do that. That's if you do that, you'll be arrested and sent to a concentration camp. Not just you, your whole family, because
That's
that's
crazy.
irregular behavior and it's therefore against the state. Conformity is the name of the game. And that is what Democrats want. There is a right way to do everything. It's interesting because in a way, Democrats and so-called progressives are really the most reactionary and conservative in a way method or philosophy of living possible. They want the least amount of freedom, the least amount of imagination possible. They'll say, no, that's not what we want. But then, when you look at what it is they want to regulate everything. They want to tell you how to do everything, what to wear, how to dress, what to say, what you can say, what you cannot say, what different categories of people can and cannot say. If you're from this, if you have this kind of heritage, you can talk about this kind of stuff, but you can't talk about this other kind of stuff because that's cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
You can wear your hair this way, but not this other way because that would, that's cultural appropriation. Speech is violence, so there are words you cannot say. They're actually very, very restrictive. And the conservatives, who they say are very restrictive, are actually much more liberal, truly liberal in the classical sense of living a liberal life, a life with less interference by the government, a life unhindered by government interference and by government regulation, with some basic principles of how you live, and then the rest of it an unspoken but agreed to social compact through mores and customs that people observe and that people normally refer to as morality and custom. And that's the best way for society to operate. Can you imagine a society where it was such a strong social norm to not steal that there was no such thing as a lock
That would be crazy.
on doors? Yeah, we could have that. We could have that tomorrow.
Yeah,
All we have to do is
it used
adopt
to
that.
be like that.
It did used to be
People
like
used
that.
to like go to sleep without locking their doors.
Absolutely.
People used to, like, I remember being a kid, being 7 or 8, and totally blind, in not the best neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I was still allowed to go by myself outside and play. And I just had better listen for my mom calling me when the street light came on, because obviously I couldn't see the street light.
Yeah.
So I better be listening for her voice, and if I didn't come the first time, well, I wasn't going outside the next day.
Yeah.
Like, and even that is gone.
Now, the house that my father grew up in didn't have locks until the late 1950s. I remember when they got the new doors, new front and back door, they had locks on them. And they asked my dad, "What, do you want a key?" He said, "Nah, I don't live here anymore, but I don't know why I would need a key." And and they said, "That's okay. We never lock the windows anyway."
Zombie Teddy says, "Happy belated birthday, Skep Talk."
Thank you, Zombie Teddy. I appreciate that, man.
And Gunfox says, "I want a government just big enough to defend the nation and deliver help." Yep.
It's there are some things that, it's important that a government be able to do. There are some disputes that are going to arise that a government has to be able to arbitrate. There are some general courses that the government has to be able to chart for the general direction of the country. But those should be very general things. And government is best when it's pushed down as far locally as those judgments can possibly be made. The best government is always local government. I mean, if you can have government being done at a local level, those judgments being made at a local level rather than a federal level, and that's probably my biggest argument against the Democrat philosophy, is that they want to do everything federally. They want to have one size fits all laws for everybody. And those laws rarely do a good job for the majority. They generally are a poor fit. And when you have local laws, those always are the best fit for the people who live in that community. You can tailor the laws much more specifically that way. Yeah. But God, I don't know what it is. It must be some dopamine hit that all the Karens seem to be in the Democrat Party, and they want to tell us how to freaking live. It just makes me crazy, Blind Press.
Who knows, man? I
just, what is the burr in their saddle that makes them need to tell us what to do, what to eat, how to live, what we can say, what we can't say, what we're allowed to like, what we must not like. Essentially, keep the border safe, deliver the mail, and stay the hell out of my way.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. Just...
That's where I come down on it. I mean, that's for real. So that's that's kind of what I had to say this morning. It's pretty much my spiel. It's been I was going to tell you a little bit about the deal with my wife and her work.
Oh yeah, I only heard like 30 seconds of that last night. So what happened?
So here's the deal. My wife, although I am retired, my wife has had some pretty spectacular success in her job as an international automobile exporter. She works for a larger company, and she ships cars to. She's the Africa specialist, but she also ships cars to Europe and Asia.
Okay.
And also earth movers. She designs how to cut earth movers into 4 parts. So it's kind of an interesting job, fascinating job. And anyway, she noticed that there were fewer and fewer people in the office. She only goes into the office every other day. That's right. One of the perks of her job is she gets to work half the time from home. And she said, "Where is everybody?" Well, she actually got a call from somebody, said, "Don't go over by my desk." And she said, "Okay, why?" "Well, I just got diagnosed with COVID. I'm staying home now." And she said, "Oh, okay." She said, that there are 4 other people who are out with COVID." Brent said, "No, I had no idea." And she said, "Yeah, one of them is sick and possibly is close to death." And Brenda said, "Not good." And but they're still, in spite of the fact they had not told Brenda that all these people were sick. She was actually going to work with them while they were sick. None of them were wearing masks or anything. Brenda may well be positive, so we're going to get her tested and find out what the deal is. And because Brenda's 64, actually 65 now. Well, she will be 65 on the 21st. And what am I saying? She'll be 65 on the
So
21st.
she has to get a test now?
And so, she's going to get it. She doesn't have to, but she is by God going to get a test. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And because I want to know, what the story is, and see if she's infected. She's, we're going to, take care of her. And then if the other thing is I'm going to talk with them because they said, well, we still need you to come to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, with other unspecified people who are probably infected walking around there without masks, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And so they said, no, it's, her job pretty much depends on her coming to work. And so there's going to be a discussion about it.
I would assume so, yes.
And it's going to be, and Brenda is a very mild-mannered, loving, caring person. I, however, am me. So that's where
that would make
I'm really I'm pretty
I would
pissed
be
off
pissed
about
if
this.
I was you.
Yeah. And I'm right now I'm in the mode of just getting my stuff together, getting some information on where the state of the law is on this, and deciding whether or not I want to talk with my lawyer about getting a letter of representation to have with me.
Yeah.
To when I sit down with them, and at some point just say, okay, I want you to read this. This is the letter of representation. You know what that means?
Yeah.
And see if they want to make the next move.
That's just supremely irresponsible.
Yep. So she's not, I'll tell you this, she's not going back to work in that germ pit.
I bet.
That's just not going to happen. And not without vast precautions and some assurance that she will be. I have no objection to her working at the place if she can be isolated.
Oh, yeah.
I have no problems with that, but I want to make sure that happens.
Yeah.
And because, one of the things that she has to do is she has to be there to receive cars.
Yes.
And trucks and stuff when they come in. Sometimes they receive the actual, some guy, and sometimes these are like $300,000 Ferraris. Coming. She actually got to drive one time.
Ooh.
She it was a Citroen SM from like 1974 in perfect condition. It was worth about $500,000.
Wow.
Being shipped to Nigeria by an oil, billionaire. Anyway, it's very interesting. It's a fascinating job, and so she has to be there to inspect it, inspect the cars, and there's all kinds of things that she has to do to ensure that they're ready to be put, either in a container or railroad onto a ship to be, shipped over. So,
well, I hope that she can find a safe place to continue working.
Well, she's going to find a safe place to continue working. Trust me when I tell you this.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. I don't care if they have to rent new office space. It's going to happen.
Gunfox says, I'm off work for 6 to 8 weeks with a hole in my belly, fucking appendix, and gallbladder. I hate 2020 and Mondays.
Dude, what is up with that?
At least it's not
appendix and gallbladder. What,
yeah.
At the same time? What is that? Some kind of infection? She is Mrs. Talk. She's Brenda Talk.
Brenda
Logic.
Talk. Aw.
Brenda Talk. She actually kept her maiden name because so many of the people over in Africa knew her by her maiden name.
Oh, okay. So it was just easier.
Yeah, I mean, technically, actually legally, technically, she actually did change her name, but on her business card and all that stuff, she kept her old maiden name just because it was just too. It's just not something that a lot of them understood. So,
Gunfox says yes, it's better than cancer. No shit, because I know you thought you had cancer. So I'm glad. I'm glad that it was just an infection.
Eddie!
But that does suck that you've
Yeah.
got a hole in your belly. Eddie, hi, buddy.
Get well, Gunny.
Yeah.
That sucks. On the other hand, just thank your lucky stars it's not 1850.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great time to have stomach problems. If you think about it, they can do something for you. So I didn't know how long you plan to go today.
I was thinking about till now, about an hour.
Didn't know if you wanted to wrap it up at this point, but
yeah, I was thinking of wrapping it up soon, and of course, we'll be meeting again tomorrow night for Minions, hosted by
I was just going to say, yeah, this is like the week where you and I are just every single night, every single day we're streaming together. So but it's great fun, and I enjoy it. I enjoy it thoroughly.
So we've got Minions tomorrow night with Prospero. We have another coffee stream on Friday. I'm not sure who I will have a guest yet. I'm hoping to get Becca, but we'll see if she's busy.
And then Saturday.
And then Saturday we're going to be doing Nemesis.
We really are going to do Nemesis.
Nemesis. I know.
For reals, playa.
Irate had family stuff, and I was just not in the headspace to watch Nemesis last week.
You got to be in the right headspace to do Nemesis. I mean, you just sometimes you just I understand.
I know. I've got a ton of news in my Discord, Gunny. Don't worry. If I can't get a guest, we'll do some Gunfox news. That's what we'll do. And then, of course, the Blind and the Special on Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. And I'll be on the Cream stream on Friday night as well. And don't forget, guys, you can get your Blind Press merch now. And I'm really happy with it, and I hope you guys like it too. So thank you all for watching.
I will leave you with a final quote then from Arthur C. Clarke, a British science fiction writer, lived from 1917 to 2008, one of my favorite science fiction writers. And he said that when you finally understand the universe, it will not only be stranger than you imagine, it will be stranger than you can imagine.
Damn, that's nice.
Kind of fun. Yeah. It's a good one to end on.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching, and thank you, Skep Talk, for joining me.
My pleasure.
Have a great rest of your day, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
And there we go.